everyone, my name is Courtney. I write under the pen names Lyra Parish, and I'm one half of the USA Today best-selling duo Kennedy Fox. And today is Monday, which means it is Q&A Monday, where I answer the questions that you guys want to know the answers to. Real quick, if you have any questions that you'd like to ask, if you look right down below in the description bar, there's a Google form. Just fill it out and submit it, and it will be added to my list. I just want to give an apology to those who have submitted questions dating all the way back to September of 2020. I apologize, guys. I am so sorry. I have 87 questions on this list. Some of them are kind of duplicated and can be answered together, but what I'm gonna do is, because I have stuff that is more recent, I'm gonna start from the bottom of the list and work my way up, because some of those questions up at the top are no longer relevant. That being said, let's go ahead and get started. And the first question comes from Jessica, and it says, do you use beta readers, critique partners for your Kennedy Fox books? I guess you would say yes, if you count me and Brooke being built-in critique partners for each other. So we mark up each other's chapters pretty hardcore, like thousands upon thousands of changes throughout an entire document. We go through it back and forth until we have 0 changes. Now, we do have an assistant, which I told you guys about, I guess last year. I think it's been a year now since Morgan has been working for us. She does read our books before they are published, just to make sure that we don't have any author ambiguity in our words, meaning everything comes off the way that we intend it to, especially when there are suspenseful elements, or if there's like a build up to this big moment. We want to make sure that we have the correct tone, because sometimes I feel like it's easy to get, I was going to say nose blind, but that's not the correct term. You just get really used to your characters. Like, you know things that the readers may not know. Sometimes things may not be described correctly, or you could have more build up to that moment to make it more intense for the reader. She does read our books before they're released. Brooke also has a friend who reads our books before they're released too, and just gives like small tweaks. And we do have our editor who does mark up things if they're not consistent throughout the book, and also checks things like, are all of their clothes off, or are they taking their clothes off a second time? Things like that tend to happen in romance, so we're always looking for arms and legs and clothes and whatever. Yes and no. I think as far as like going super hard as like critique partners, me and Brooke cover that, but to have an overall like reader's opinion, we have 2 people who read it once we're done and give small suggestions that we change before publishing. The next question comes from Susan, and it says, editing, exclamation point. I can outline and write fast, same, and am energized by these activities. Me too. However, my manuscript is a mess, and I take much more time to edit this, / I hate it. That's a whole mood. I completely understand. / I also find it energy draining. I'm looking for any suggestions to make editing go better, whether it be scheduling or approaches that have worked for you. You guys know how much I hate editing. I'm very vocal about it. Self-editing. It is the absolute bane of my existence. There are reasons for that. I have dyslexia, and I also have ADHD. So with those 2 things combined, I have to slow down and make sure that I'm processing what was written correctly. With those things being said, that's one of the main reasons why I hate editing, because I'm not fast at it. But I've been doing it for 8 years now, and I've kind of found some things that do help me be a better self-editor. So what I've found that I really like doing is I have a bullet journal. I'll insert a photo of one of the charts that I've made, but I like to track my edits. I will do on the left-hand side, like the chapter, whether Brooke or I wrote it, the date that I would like to have it complete, the date that I actually complete it, and then I will check off if I've finished it, or I will highlight it. That to me is very motivating, because I'm motivated by marking boxes. I know that sounds silly when I say it out loud. I make it like a game and somewhat of a challenge. I just get so much joy and satisfaction of seeing that page and everything completely highlighted off. The second thing that I found to be super helpful is to have an accountability partner. Typically, I am editing until the late hours of the night. when it is editing hell time, I am up until 5 or 6 a.m. every night, nonstop. It has been like this for years. I can't break the habit, so I've just learned to go with it. The only person in my life that is up at all hours of my nighttime is Rachel Brooks because she lives in Australia. 4 o'clock in the morning for me is like her late afternoon or evening. I love the Forest app. It is a productivity app. It costs $1.99 if you want to plant with other people, but I love planting trees. And so when I'm in editing, which I am in editing hell right now, I have this. This was our one from last night. Of course, that's Rachel. This is my pumpkin Santa, and down here, I've got it marked as editing. I just kind of like keeping my forest going when I'm editing. It gives me motivation at the end of the month when I've got a bunch of beautiful little trees on my forest app that were from editing. And so this right here is for December, and that's all the trees that I have planted for December. That's all editing trees right here. And I love seeing that. And so I try to make it like a game, and I try to make it fun for myself. I try challenging myself by giving deadlines of when I want to finish so many chapters. Typically, on average, one word page takes me about 30 minutes to edit. So if our books are 150 word pages, then times that by 30 minutes, and that's how long it takes me, because I have to slow down because I've got issues. I wish that I just had like a magic solution to make you love it, but I think that some authors are just meant to really, really love editing, and then other authors just hate it. And I have accepted that I am in the bucket of the authors who hate it. I've learned that I strive being creative. I love being creative, and that uses one side of your brain. And when you go into edits, you use the analytical, critical side of your brain. So instead of using the fun part, you're having to work, be critical, be analytical, you know, tear things up. It's like left brain versus right brain. I don't have a magic solution. Those things have helped make it a little more fun for me, but still to this day, 8 years later, I still hate it. I've come to terms with it. Everyone knows. When I'm in editing, everyone knows I'm going into editing hell to send wine, send coffee, send snacks, because I'm gonna be there a while, and it's not gonna be fun, but it is a necessary evil, because at the end of the day, your book's gonna be 100 times better. And I feel like a lot of the magic really happens in edits. You can incorporate more details, you can restructure sentences, like there is a good part of it. I just haven't learned to love it, and that's okay. And you don't have to learn to love it either. You just have to work your way through it. The next question, so the next one comes from Des, and the question is, which method of advertising or platform do you feel has been the most beneficial for you in terms of reaching your sales goals? 100% Facebook ads. I mean, that's a no-brainer. We are on all social media platforms, but I feel like Facebook ads, although it is a pay-to-play system, it's pretty reliant if you know how to set up your ads correctly. There are authors who are in Kindle Unlimited, and also a lot of authors who are wide who use Facebook ads as their main platform to reach new readers, and it works. I'll tell y'all that Brooke does all of our ads for Kennedy Fox. I can make an ad. I've like kept my chops up because I don't want to lose things. It's kind of like a different language. If you don't use it, you will lose it. But she does all of our Kennedy Fox ads, and she does all the images, and she does all the testing, and she is very, 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 very good at it. So it would be stupid for me to jump in and be like, hey, let me do ads, when she does it so well. And recently we have a book that's releasing next week. We're just trying to test ads before the book releases so that we know we have good ads. And she did some on our pre-order, and the rank jumped like, what was it? Brooke, you'd have to tell me, like 30,000 places on Amazon just by doing a few Facebook ads. As far as Amazon ads, we don't use them that much, maybe like during release week, but we're not putting a lot of money in it. The bulk of our advertising spend goes into Facebook ads. I will say that TikTok is a great platform. It's $0 to make TikTok, but it's a lot of time. Time is money, and there are a lot of people who are addicted to chasing the white rabbit of going viral on TikTok, and it's not that easy. If you can sell a lot of books, but at the end of the day, writing your books are way more important than trying to go viral. and get that dopamine rush that the platform gives people. It is a literal addiction, and you'll see authors spend more time on TikTok than writing, and at the end of the day, writing is the most important thing. So yeah, we don't spend a lot on Instagram ads, if any, anymore. They just really didn't convert that well for us. They may for you, depending on your book and your genre and what you're trying to accomplish. But yeah, I would say for us, Facebook ads is king. And I would also add that our newsletter is very, very successful. We have 50,000 people or close to 50,000 people on our newsletter. I've had it since the very beginning of starting Kennedy Fox, and we have very good open rates. If we have a pre-order set up and we haven't told anybody about it and we, then put it in our newsletter, we'll instantly see sales from it. So our newsletter is very, very beneficial. Also, I will add to that, I can say that BookBub is also very good. It's not easy to get the featured deals, but if you can, it can literally change your revenue for the month, especially if you are writing in a series. I feel like for standalones, it doesn't work quite as well unless you have your back matter linked to the next book really well. But for a series, we always see read through for the entire series anytime we have a BookBub featured deal. So absolutely apply for those. If you have not claimed your author account on BookBub, go and do that. It can be so beneficial for your brand, and BookBub is one of our main ways that we find new readers when we have freebies, and I think a lot of authors use them as well, so highly recommend them. The next question comes from Kaylee, and she says, calling me out. She says, when are we going to get your video on preparing and getting ready to leave your day job? Smiley face. I am going to try to get that video out to you guys this month. I felt weird talking about quitting my job and preparing to do that like right when the pandemic broke out. You guys know that like March of 2020 is when I quit. March 1st was my last day, and basically the world shut down like it was March 10th or 11th. It was like no more flights. We're canceling flights, we're canceling travel, we're canceling all this stuff, and people were losing their jobs. And it felt just completely out of touch and just gross to come on YouTube and talk about that when so many people were struggling, so I just had a very icky feeling about it. I think things have slightly changed. We still kind of live in the same environment that we were in last year around that time, but it's a little different. And so I think that I'm ready to actually talk about it and give y'all a breakdown. I know that that video is going to be really long. Like, I've got a lot of stuff to say about it because I really prepared to make sure that I would be okay just in case something happened. I'm going to try to get it recorded this month, and it will probably be a 2-part video just because I know that it's probably going to be 45 minutes long. So soon. We'll say soon. The next part of the question is, how do you create an author brand? Beyond logo and colors, what can you do to make your IG feed seem more branded, and how do you know what your brand is? So you have to think about your brand as a whole, like a whole thing. I know that it's really easy to be like, oh, well, their brand is pink and they have hearts or whatever. Like, I know a lot of romance authors, like their brand is like pink with hearts or lips or whatever the case is. But when you delve a little deeper than that, branding is so much more. It is the types of books you write. It's the type of covers that you have. It's the way that you do your titles. It's maybe the way that you write your blurbs. It could be the suspense elements that you have in your books, or the cliffhangers, or the interconnected standalones. And also you've got like your different colors of that nature. Like for us, we've got the foxes and we've got the pink or like the pastels. We write small town romance, a lot of southern romances. We do a lot of duets. We do a lot of interconnected standalone. All of our books are series. So people have a specific expectation when it comes to Kennedy Fox. They know for a fact they're going to get a happily ever after. And they know that more than likely those characters are probably going to be knocked up, have a baby, and or get married at the end of every book in the epilogue. And you will also be led on to other characters that come next. every single book. As far as like the way that people view you and your Instagram and that kind of thing is, you know, they've got filters. You could do all of your pictures with a certain kind of filter. I think though, when it comes to Instagram, like having like the same kind of like color schemes, yes. Talking about your books, absolutely. But you have to realize that Instagram is changing. You know, back then it used to be having this beautiful curated feed that everything just kind of matched or whatever the case was. But Reels are now a thing. And so a lot of authors are just really, really like doubling down on Instagram Reels because TikTok has become so freaking popular. I would say when it comes to your Instagram feed though, like make sure that everything kind of flows together. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to have like a dark color image and then have this bright color image and then have this image of this. Like I think that authors' feeds on Instagram should display their books. It should show what they have to offer. It could be like snippets or teasers or flat lays or photos of you holding books or different things of that nature. I've seen some authors where they'll just like post like their food or post like their dog and they're using it more of like a personal photo album. And I would say, I mean, it can work, but the goal is to entice your readers to follow you. And so I would keep your feed book branded. Whether that is your photos have all the same filter, if it's your books in different positions, if it's you, whatever, I would keep it branded in a way where you are sharing your works. As far as the personal things when it comes to Instagram, that's what stories are for. You know, like put pictures of that kind of stuff in stories and then put it at the top of your Instagram and those little group things that you can do. And Reels, you can be very like yourself on Reels. And there's even IGTV where if you just want to sit down and like chat with people. I think figuring out your author brand as a whole and knowing like the kind of books that you're releasing and like your reader expectation and just breaking down like the type of author that you want to be known as and then putting that into your feed where it has the same type of feel, that's what I would go for. I don't think Instagram sells books anymore. So I wouldn't spend like a million hours on it. I would spend more time on TikTok, honestly, if you wanted to do that. But, you know, there are ways to make it beautiful and you never know when Instagram's going to change and things are going to go viral over there and, you know, it will start selling books again. But as of right now, in today's climate, I don't think that just photos are really, you know, inspiring people to go buy other people's books. But that could just be my personal opinion. The next question comes from Joel, I think. It says, are you going to continue the marketing series you started? And this is a question that I'm asked so much. The answer to that is yes. I do want to continue it, but I think that I need to restructure the way that I'm going to do it. Because right now I released those 2 videos. I need to rewatch those videos and make sure that they are still up to date with how things are right now and the end of 2021 going into 2022. When I started that series, I was going to break down every single platform. We were going to go over newsletters, author websites, Goodreads, different things like that. And then there was a bunch of drama on Goodreads where people were holding authors at ransom. I'm not even kidding. So there were a bunch of scammers and they were going on Goodreads and they were marking authors' books with like hundreds of 1-star reviews. Hundreds, okay? And so if you had a good rating that was like 4.5 stars, whatever, and you didn't have a whole lot of reviews, maybe 50, they were targeting those authors and then they were literally review bombing. Then they would message the authors on Goodreads and they would say something to the effect of, if you want all these 1-stars removed, you need to pay me $100 to get them removed. And so authors were paying the money. And so these scammers continued to do it. Goodreads would shut down the accounts. They would come right back with new accounts. And so I did not want to talk about Goodreads at that point because I didn't have anything good to say until that kind of blew over. When people were paying those people to remove the 1-star reviews, some of them would go and change them all to 5-star reviews. So then the book would be inflated with a bunch of 5-star reviews, and there was nothing that you could do to get them taken off. There is a whole blog post that I will try to find that an author wrote, and it went on for months and months. I saw it on Facebook. I'll try to find it. If I can, I'll put it in the description. And so that kind of like stopped me in my tracks because Goodreads was the next video that I was going to do. I do think Goodreads is a great platform for authors. Don't get me wrong. I think that there's ways that you can use it to launch your releases, especially if you're a new author. And the groups are really helpful for newbies as well. I need to restructure it. I should probably take those other 2 videos down and just, you know, go through them so then more people don't ask me. But I do want to continue that series, and I will try, and I'm going to try to start it, map out how many videos it's going to be at the very beginning, and let you guys know what is upcoming. So then I actually have a solid plan, and no matter what happens on the internet, as far as like scammers taking over websites, continue forward with that. So yes, it's coming. 2022, I think, is the year for me to go ahead and finish that. So this is going to be the final question for the day, and it comes from Claire. And she asks, what are your tips for marketing books on Apple and Google Play? My suggestion is writing in series. I know that some people will be like, ugh, I don't like doing that. If you can write books in the same world, it does not have to be the same characters, but if you can write books in the same world where people are enticed to continue reading your books when they finish, it is a very, very good thing. And the sell-through rate typically with series, as long as you are giving readers exactly what they want, is fantastic. I can't say enough good things about writing in series. I should probably make a video about it. It is really like the bread and butter for a lot of self-published authors. The way that we do it is we have a lot of series. I think we have 7 at this point, or is it 8? How many? I don't know. I'll put a number up here. This is how many series we have. And so we have different entry points for readers to enter into our series. So in every duet, they can start at the first book for the couple. We write those books intentionally like that, where if you didn't read the 2 books before it, you can jump in right there. So then we have an opportunity to do freebies or do 99-cent sales to give that series a boost. The best way to find readers on Apple and Google Play is to use the first book in your series as a loss leader or a reader magnet. That means mark it down as free and then do a bunch of promo stacks on it. And typically you could get anywhere from 5,000 to 15,000 downloads on your first book across all platforms in the first week. And typically those people, if you did a good job setting up the characters and the world, maybe you have an amazing cliffhanger, maybe it's just a pretty little bow happily ever after and leads them to the next couple, your back matter is updated, whatever it is that you want them to go to next. If readers enjoyed your work, they will go to that next book and they will buy it for full price. I've learned that freebie books can sell your backlist. 100%. It can make a series that is currently dying have a new set of eyes on it and can lead people to other books in your other series if they like your writing style and your voice and the way that you set up everything. Loss Leaders is going to be your best friend on those 2 platforms specifically, but basically all platforms. You really have to think that if you have a book series, even if it's 3 books, if you mark that first one down and you have a cliffy, they're going to want the second one. They may complain about it, but they're going to probably get the second book and then they're going to get the third book. My first freebie book bub for Lyra Parish back in 2014, the first book was free. I made $16,000 that month. And that was in 2014. So just imagine now in 2021, 2022, when books are a little bit more expensive, how much money you could possibly make in a month if you have a long series and you do a good job of leading people through your books. I feel like when we have free books for people to download, it's very helpful. Apple has promotions that you can sign up for. If you go through Draft to Digital, they should send out different promotions. Google Play doesn't have anything like that where you can like advertise on their platform. But when you do do like newsletter stackers, you will see downloads on Google Play and you know that that BookBub sent people there. Using your books to your advantage, do not be afraid to mark them down and give them to people for free to build your audience there. Once they've got your books and they know who you are, those people typically keep reading through. Like, they want to get as many books from you as they possibly can. We had people who just discovered us in 2021 and read through our entire backlist. 35 books, all of them. They've read all of them and they're like, can you please hurry up and release the other ones? And I'm like, we're dying over here. We've released 3 months in a row. But that's how it is. You can create super fans by giving away one book. It's just so beneficial, and I found that's the best way to really build your readership on those two platforms and also on all platforms. You want to make sure on Google Play that you've got your full description, that you are putting your book in every single category, even in the foreign languages that your book should be in. The correct ones. Don't just like category stuff for the heck of it. Google Play doesn't have a limit like most places. As far as Apple, do the same thing. Make sure your books are in the correct categories. Make sure that your blurbs are tight along with Google Play. In the back office of Google Play, you know, make sure that you are using the area where you can mark books down to free instead of going into Google Play and deleting all of those prices. And also, one more suggestion for Google Play is I would do the conversions for all of the big countries instead of allowing Google to just autofill it. So like in the US, you want your book to be $4.99, for example. If you go to Australia, it may be like $11.37. Just make sure that you go and bring that price up to $11.99. And that's for all of the big countries. Like for the European countries, Switzerland, we do Mexico, Hong Kong, Japan, Brazil, Canada, Australia, UK, New Zealand. I mean, there's like 17 different prices that I go and actually put the price into for the conversion and up that to the next 0.99 instead of just letting it be some $2.37, because readers see that and they're like, oh yeah, I want to buy that. If your book is this weird number, like, you don't have the same sales factor. It has to do with psychology and seeing that .99. It makes people believe that they're getting some sort of deal. So I think that's all the suggestions that I have. If I think of anything else, I will put it in another Q&A video. So yeah, we did it, guys. Another Q&A Monday. I'm so glad to be back. As promised, I told you guys that I was going to do giveaways the entire month of December. I am. So today I am giving away a Echo Dot. I don't know anything about these. I don't use Echo Dots. This has never been opened. This is going to someone. I will send it anywhere in the world. You guys know that. If you would like to win this cute little Echo Dot, then all you need to do is put, which emoji do I want? Put a coffee cup emoji down below. The ones that have the coffee cup emojis, I will know that you would like to be entered to win. I will do a random comment generator, and that's how people will find out they are the winner. You want an Echo Dot coffee cup emoji down below, and that's all I have for today, guys. I hope that you have an amazing, incredible week. You accomplish all your goals and you write all the words, and I will see you again in my next video. Bye, guys. What is it? Bisca? You want to make sure I'm good. I'm gonna have to cut that out.